Hi everybody, welcome to Chemistry Lesson 5 Explanations. This video will look at the practice question and the 3 questions in the end of Lesson 5. If you don't understand anything, feel free to send me a message. So looking at the practice question, there are several forms in which fluoride can be taken. Fluoride is one of the elements in the periodic table. It's got the letter F, and fluoride generally is used for strengthening bones and teeth. Many people get fluoride in their drinking water. For children in families with well water, dentists sometimes write out fluoride prescriptions. So in America, most people get the water through the pipe from the government, and the government tell the water company to put fluoride into that pipe water, government water. But if it's from the well, then the well water is more natural. It might have or it might not have fluoride. That's why the dentists want a prescription. They want the children to go to the chemist and get fluoride tablets because the dentists believe they don't get enough fluoride in their well water. In addition to fluoride tablets, some fluoride comes in solution. One form is rinse and spit. This is something that people will buy. Another form is rinse and swallow. So rinse means you put it in your mouth and you swirl it, you circle it around your mouth, and then you spit it out. That's the spit. Or you swallow it, or it goes down into your stomach. So there's 2 different types: rinse and spit out, rinse and swallow. And there's an advertisement here. Studies show what common sense tell you. Most of the fluoride in rinse and spit is going down the drain. You're throwing it out. We recommend that all children to take rinse and swallow form for healthier bones and teeth. Now, if you look at the diagram in this side here, this is the rinse and spit, and there is less fluoride absorbed by the children's teeth. This one is rinse and swallow, and you can see the difference. Here is extra fluoride that's being swallowed. Now, the question is, which statement does not point out a weakness in the ad's argument? So 4 of these sentences will be a weakness. Only 1 of them will not be a weakness. Number 1, beyond a certain point, more fluoride does not necessarily mean stronger teeth. Number 1 says, the advertisement forgets to tell you that there is a limit to how much fluoride you need. Once you have the limit that you need, you don't need any extra. So even if you absorb more or not, it doesn't really help you. Think about food. There's an amount of food that you need to eat each day. If you eat more food than that, then it's not actually helping you. In fact, for food, it can make you fat. Eating too much food is bad for you. Maybe having too much fluoride is also bad for you. So this is a weakness in the argument. So number 1 is not correct because we want something that is not a weakness. Number 2, an unstated assumption is that there are no harmful side effects from fluoride. This assumes that it is not bad to take fluoride. It doesn't tell you that they've tested it. It doesn't tell you that it's sure. It just assumes that there are no harmful effects from fluoride. This is a weakness. It would be stronger if it told you for sure. Number 3, the child who takes the rinse and swallow will retain more of the fluoride than the child that takes rinse and spit. Well, that is an accurate summary of the picture. So because it's a summary of the picture, it's not a weakness in the argument. So number 3 looks like it could be the correct idea. Number 4, no mention is made of the water the child is drinking. If fluoridated, perhaps neither the rinse nor swallow is necessary. So that is a weakness. That's a weakness because this advertisement is put on TV for everybody, not just for those people that have well water, but those people that get government water. The advertisement is not telling people this is only really needed for people that don't have government drinking water. So this is a weakness of the argument or the advertisement. And lastly, no evidence is presented that fluoride's benefit to teeth is also a benefit to bones. Look here, it says bones and teeth. Bones is put into the very last sentence, and nothing else in the passage shows you that this is true. So this is a good example of a weakness because there is a claim made, there's an opinion that is given that has no evidence to support it. Now, question number 1 is the same sort of question. Which of the following is not a weakness in the logic used by the ad writer? This is for hairspray. It says photographs taken under a microscope show that spray X, brand X, actually changes your hair's chemistry to ensure a lasting hold. Hairspray makes your hair stiff, so you can shape your hair how you like it, spray on the hairspray, and then it will not change design. No more flyaway hair. Used by 100 models. 50% more for the same low price. Sleek new aerosol can, just use and toss. Might be thinking environmental problem. Throw it away. That's a bad thing for the environment. Let's start with number 5. A model who must appear under hot lights may not need the same hair product that most people do. That's a weakness. That's true. That is a weakness. This is saying that this is used by models. Models have to do many things that other people do not do. They go on the catwalk, they have their photos taken, they have bright lights shining on their hair. The air around them becomes very hot because of all the bright lights. So maybe the environment of a model is different to the environment of a normal person. So it might not be useful for everybody. Number 4, 50% more may be twisting of statistics. If there is 50% more spray than before, the spray might be diluted. That means mixed with more water. And so you need to use more of the spray because it's weaker. That's true. Just because something is 50% more doesn't mean it's the same as it was before. So that is also a weakness. The assumption that flyaway hair is unattractive may be mistaken in the view of some people. So flyaway hair means like if you've been on a motorbike and your hair is flying backwards. When you get off the motorbike, your hair has changed design. Some people might think this looks very attractive, lot air. Other people might think, ew, lot But the advertisement is assuming no more flyaway hair. This assumes that everybody has the same opinion, that nobody likes that look. So that's also a weakness because not everybody has the same idea about what looks good. Number 2. The ad implies that chemical changes are good. Look, it says, actually changes your hair's chemistry. But chemical changes may be damaging to your hair in the long run. If you change the formula of your hair, if you change what your hair is made from, then this might damage your hair. It might get weak. You might become Godot later if all your hair starts to fall out. We don't know for sure that chemical change is good. So number 2 is a weakness. Number 1, just because the hair looks changed under the microscope doesn't mean it has really changed. Well, this is not true. If you look under a microscope, you are looking at the molecules. If you're looking at the molecules, you should be able to see if there has been a chemical change or not. If the molecules have been broken down and the atoms have rearranged and new bonds have been made, then there's been a chemical change. You cannot see chemical changes with your eyes because they happen between the different atoms. But you can see the chemical change under a powerful microscope because the powerful microscope will look at the individual atoms inside a molecule. So number 1 is not a weakness of the logic because number 1 is not true. Number 2. Sometimes a chemical reaction won't take place or it will proceed, it will go very slowly unless some other substance is added. The other substance is called a catalyst. A catalyst quickens, hastens the reaction, but does not take part in the reaction. A catalyst makes the reaction start or makes the reaction go quickly, but does not change. It does not take part in the reaction. Here is an example of a catalytic reaction. A boy holds a lighted match or a midget to the corner of a cube of sugar. The sugar melts and gets black, but it won't burn. Then he rubs a tiny bit of cigarette ash from a half-smoked cigarette on the sugar and holds a flame to it. The sugar immediately starts to burn and will continue to burn. So when the boy holds the midget to the sugar cube, it melts, there's a physical change, but it will not set on fire. It will not oxidize, there's no chemical change. When a little bit of ash from an old cigarette is put onto the sugar starts to burn when the midget comes back. Think to yourself, what is burning, what is reacting, what is not reacting? Now, number 5, the sweat on the boy's finger caused the sugar to burn. Well, 2 things. Number 1, sweat is not in the passage. So this would be not given. But also, if there was sweat on the boy's finger, then the sweat would be there for both times. For the time when it does not melt, does not set on fire, and the time when it does set on fire. So there's nothing about sweat being there the second time and not the first time. Number 3, if powdered sugar had been used instead of a sugar cube, it would have burned. Well, number 3 we can also take away because there is nothing in the passage about powdered sugar. So that's not given. In the passage, we have about cigarette ash and we have about sugar. So we have cigarette ash and we have sugar. These are the 2 things in the passage. So these things need to really be in the answer. Let's look at number 4. Rubbing the cigarette ash on any inflammable means cannot burn, substance will make it burn. Rubbing it on an inflammable substance will make it burn. Basically, it means on any substance. But in this passage, we only know about sugar. We don't know about anything else. So this would also be not given. Now, number 1, we have catalytic reaction, and this is about a catalytic reaction. And number 2, we also have about a catalytic reaction. So just by thinking, what is the passage about? The passage is about catalysts and catalytic reactions, okay? So very important, we think, what is the passage about? And we're looking for an answer that matches this. The main idea of the passage is catalytic reactions, which we find here and here. But which one is correct? Number 1, the ash had a catalytic reaction and helped start the oxidation of the sugar. Oxidation means burning, combining with oxygen. Or the sugar had a catalytic reaction and helped start the oxidation of the ash. The oxidation of the ash or the oxidation of the sugar. Now, catalytic reaction means does not change. Oxidation means burn. So let's think, what is burning? Well, it says the sugar immediately starts to burn. The sugar burns. So the sugar burns means the answer is going to be number 1. The ash is the catalyst. The ash does not change. Now, the first chemists were called alchemists. They were not searching for truth about nature or looking for a system to describe all matter. They worked with a single idea to keep them going. They wanted to find a way to create gold. Now, gold is very valuable, and so these first scientists, chemists, alchemists, they just wanted to make gold, because then they could sell it. You might think, like they did, if you can turn iron into something else by making it turn red with rust in water, why not look for a way to make gold? So to this end, the alchemists separated mixtures and mixed things together, but the alchemists failed in their purpose. No matter how hard they tried, they could not make gold. But perhaps the most important discoveries of the alchemists were events they observed that changed one kind of matter into another. These were chemical reactions. Now we're looking for faulty reasoning. So which one of these is faulty? Which one of these is not true? Let's start with number 5. Even though the alchemists didn't achieve their goal, they contributed to the development of science. Well, it says here, the most important discoveries of the alchemists were events they observed, which were chemical reactions. So we can see that even though they failed to make gold, they did do things that were useful. So this is not faulty reasoning. Number 3, since alchemists were interested in how natural substances are formed, they were among the first chemists. Well, it does say they were the first chemists. Now, they were not looking for truth, but they did want to make gold. They want to form gold. So we see here, this is answer number 3. This is not faulty reasoning, this is true. So take away number 3. Number 1, since the alchemists failed to make gold, they failed in their intended purpose. Well, the start of the second section says the alchemists failed in their intended purpose. Their purpose, their goal, was to make gold. But they failed. So number 1 is true. They did fail. So now we need to look at number 2 and number 4. 2, since iron can be turned into something else, there may be a way to make gold. Even if alchemists had been willing to work longer and harder, they would have failed in their intended purpose. Now, to get the right answer, we need to use a little bit of our knowledge. You should remember that iron and gold are both elements in the periodic table. So iron is only made from iron atoms. Gold is only made from gold atoms. Rust is iron oxide. Rust is made by combining iron and oxygen together. So a compound like water or rust can be made by joining two things together. But an element cannot be made because it's not made from two things. An element is pure. So you cannot make an element from anything else because an element is most basic. So number 4, even if the alchemists had been willing to work longer, they would have failed, is true. They would always have failed because they could never make gold because gold is an element. Now, number 2, since iron can be turned into something else, there may be a way to make gold, is false. I know it says it here. It says you might reason. You might reason. It doesn't say you can. It says you might. And you would be wrong to think that. Rust is made by joining together the oxygen in the water and the iron to make iron oxide. Gold cannot be made because it is only made from gold. You don't need to join anything together.